We are here to spread ideas.
Okay, we'll start in about 2 minutes. Let's just wait for the participants to enter.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, testing mic 1 2 3.
Okay, okay.
and
Shay, can you please open your mic?
your mic, sir. Okay.
Me and my partner have been discussing a lot of the situation in Castor, and it seems to me that it is quite alarming and also at the same time quite frightening. But not to worry. At the end of this conference, at the end of finishing this conference, you'll be wanting our solution. You'll be wanting our policies. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say a few things. First of all, after me and Haris have been discussing, we realized there's a pattern in the problems of Castor. So first of all, there is one main problem, which is the IMPF31 virus, and there is also a lot of several additional problems. I like to see it as those kind of problems are interconnected problems. You see, imagine like this. If you can see, imagine like this. There's a stack of dominoes, and those dominoes are your problems in Castor. So how do you stop those stack of dominoes from going down? It's simple. You stop the first one from going down. So you have to identify the core problem in Castor so that other problems can also be stopped and also be reduced. So me and Haris refer to this policy making formation to make policies. We have the agenda settings. We have the policy formation. The agenda setting is the problems that we face. The policy formation where we take on all of the information needed to make a good policy. So moving on to the first problem that we have, which is the IMPF31. The IMPF31 is the main problem, and it also infects humans and at the same time animals. But for the humans, we'll have standard operating procedures, such as wearing a mask. Wearing a mask is essential so that we can help others by helping ourselves. What do I mean is that when we wear a mask, we are actually protecting them. But if all of us wear a mask, we might be able to protect ourselves at the same time. Secondly, banning mass gathering. What is the kind of mass gathering I'm talking about? The kind of mass gathering I'm talking about is like a concert. Let's take an example. If I were to be in there and I'm surrounded by other people, if I were to have IMPF31, there is a high probability that I will spread to other people around me. So, next point is all sports are banned, including professional levels, and also to make sure to scan to the Castor Care app. What is the Castor Care app? The Castor Care app is an app made by the government itself. Castor Care apps is to help. The function of the Castor Care app is like this. So let's say if you're going to a shop and we have standard operating procedures before entering shops, which is to record your temperature. So after we record your temperature, you must put your data inside the Castor Care app. So it's actually a hive of database. And secondly, Castor Care is linked to the police. So the Castor Care will see if there is any person who are more than the average body temperature, which is above 37.5. Secondly, Castor Care is directly linked to the police department. So we can do a lot of things. And Castor Care will educate the society on IMPF31. Moving on, we have reducing tax to buy hand sanitizers. What do I mean by this? So we all know that every year that the landlords of malls and shopping centers have to pay tax to the government. So why don't we reduce that tax? In exchange, those owners will have to prepare hand sanitizers to their respective malls and shopping centers at the entrances and the exits. Secondly, giving swab tests. the original price is 250 caster buck. But if you are an elderly, and also children below 9 years old, you'll get a 30% discount, which is 175 caster buck. The government will also release an identification card for Grab delivers, for Grab riders. So let's just say if I was to be a Grab driver, and once a month I go there, and once a month I will get a discount on oil price for my transportation to sell my food. So this can reduce the amount of people going out, and at the same time reduce the spread of IMPF 31 spreading. So there, make sure to check your temperature before going in to the shops. Moving on. So, as you all know, IMPF 31 can also affect animals. So how do we stop this? By assigning veterinarians to clinics and also hospitals. Do you know that there is 33,000 pet owners registered in CASTER? So it will be taking approximately around 6 months to make sure we can deal with this situation. So they will go undergo checkup as fast as possible, routing out all of these people with pets. And we'll be allocating budgets for the stray animals, but we are gonna focusing on stray cats and also stray dogs because they have the highest human to animal relationship. Moving on. So one of the additional problems that we have in CASTER is overpopulation. Do you know that there is 5,370 persons get raped every month? In addition, 35% of female youth believe that they can't get pregnant during their first time doing sex. So this is a big concern, which means they are lacking awareness. So we are gonna put sex education in schools to put that to make sure they have awareness. So in the future, we can see a decrease in overpopulation because we can educate our society on bad touch, on preventing from rape, and educating them about sex. So we can see a reduce in overpopulation. Well, it might be slow, but slowly but surely. And also, do you know that CASTER is ranked in the top 10 countries in terms of fertility rate, with a 5.2 children per woman? So we need to give taxes to those families having more than 3 children. And thus, we can see a decrease in this fertility rate. Well, if all things go wrong, we have a backup plan. The backup plan is to reduce the operation for the cutting of the sperm duct. Moving on. So, when talking about drug war, what is the most essential, what is the things that pop up inside your head? Obviously, drug dealers, drug consumers, and also the drug itself. So me and Haris thought about this. And what better way by doing something about a problem by killing the biggest factor of them all, which is the drug dealers themselves. Without drug dealers, you can't have drug buyers. So we are gonna give death sentence for those who are selling drugs. We will be also giving urine tests at schools. Let's take an example. If you're a 16-year-old, every year we will take a urine test. Every year, 16 years old people, 16 years old age, will take a urine test. And if they are confirmed positive, and if they're confirmed to doing drugs, we will interrogate them and find the cost of this drug, find the cost of how they can, find the cost of why and how they get to consuming drugs in the first place. And we will also send drug addicts to rehabilitation. So overcrowded jail are one of the things that I said are the connected dots. If the drug war, the main, 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 the ma if the drug war, the main domino can be stopped from falling to other dominoes, then we can stop that domino, the other domino, which is overcrowded jail. So moving on. So economic crisis. So we thought about why don't we cut 5% of representative from parliament to give to the poor, to invest in small companies. During this pandemic, it will surely hit them. So we are going to invest in them. And thus we can see in the future an economic growth in our country. Secondly, we are not closing our border. Why? The source of revenue for CASTER, one of it is 20% comes from tourism. So we are not closing our borders. One of the things that we are doing is to strengthen our tourism policy. How? We are gonna do two phases. One is we will filter out from countries. We are gonna filter out countries that has high ranking in IPF 31 numbers. And secondly, you are gonna register yourself into CASTER Care app. So let's just say, after coming into CASTER, you are forced to quarantine for 3 weeks because IMPF 31 is, you can show symptoms during that period of time. So before the 3 weeks quarantine, you go out and you go to shops, and then you put your temperature inside the database of CASTER Care. We will alert the police department themselves, and you will be in lockup. And also doing partnership with other countries, such as treaty, so that we can expand our resources. We can make more resources. Moving on. So it seems that Dargon wants to go out of CASTER. Why? Because they think that CASTER is a burden to that country. Well, I think they might think otherwise, because why don't we implement this kind of policy where we give less tax for the state of Dargon, meaning that give less tax for business opportunities, such as, let's take an example, if you're in Dargon and you're opening a company and you want to open up branches, and to export your product to other states, then we will give you less tax so that we are more bonded with each other. And also to promote Dargon's culture to other states. This can also subconsciously bring us together. So let's take an example as Laksa Dargon. So those are the things that Dargon treasure most. So we are gonna open that to other states. Secondly, they are the economic backbone. So it is reasonable to us to allocate more budgets for the state of Dargon. And if all else fails, we can encourage the facilities from the state of Dargon. So what do I mean by this? We can do fast approval bank loans and also less interest rate if you're the citizens of Dargon. And that is how we overcome territorial segregation. And we can see that. And because why do we want to keep Dargon? Because it's one of the economic backbone of CASTER. Moving on. So this is one of the things that we have are the problems. So you see, illegal immigrants is one of the major problems that we have. If we can stop and reduce illegal immigrants, and we can also stop and solve other problems. So what is the agenda here? To tighten the security of the country's border. By how? We are going to do agreement with other countries near our border. For instance, let's say this is our country and there is the other country across our ocean. So they are our neighbor country. So let's do an agreement to fight against the good war and to reduce the illegal immigrant from coming in. So basically we will team up to fight against illegal immigrant. So also we will be doing a task force specialized at the border, because human trafficking happens at the end of the border. So we will do a specialized task force to deal with the situation. At the same time, also help the agreement we had with other countries, because they are near our border. Moving on. So, urbanization. It seems that we kind of neglect our rural areas. Well, this is time to stop that. First of all, giving assignments to university students to help the rural areas, especially those majoring in medicine. So, those who are majoring in medicine will be given an assignment to go to rural areas and preach them about modern medicine. From here, we can stop rural areas to see conventional medicine as something they need to follow. We can preach them about medicine, we can preach them about modern medicine. Secondly, we are recruiting more NGOs to help the rural areas. What do I mean by this? What do I mean is that we can stop the neglection that we had for over the past few months coming from the pandemic, and also making a sabbatical program. What do I mean by this? I mean, let's take an example. The Ministry of Education should put a curriculum activity making it compulsory to visit the rural areas, while at the same time stopping yourself from mass gathering while doing social distancing. So from here, there's a benefit for two ways, because for the students, they can engage in good moral values, and for the rural areas, they will not be neglected. So it seems here that is the policies that I have today. My brother and sister in parliament of this beloved country, we are a nation at war. The situation we are facing is unforeseen. So we need desperate action. We should not ban one another. I am a son to this nation, and I do not need you to tell me the same way too, because I can see it in your eyes, in your hearts. You see, Castor is not just a country, it is an idea, a bold and righteous idea. So let us tell to the whole of Castor that we will win against this war. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And with that, I hope you accept this proposal and join me for the greater good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Chief Minister, for that lovely proposal just now. So moving on, we're going to the Q&A session. So I would like you guys to drop out some comments in the comment section below, and we'll pick which one best. Okay. Drop out some comments. Okay. As pet owners are needed to pay for their pet's medical checkup, how are you planning to ensure that every pet owners get the medical checkup? Okay, so this is quite interesting one, since as the Chief Minister has stated before, there are 33,000 of registered pet owners in Castor only. So this is a quite number if you think closely. So obviously it will take some time. Like Chief Minister said, it will take around 6 months to ensure that all pets are fully checked up. So how can we speed up the process is, first, there's a specialized task force with allocated budget by the government that are responsible for the searching and securing the stray animals like cats and dogs. So the other functions of this specialized task force is when they patrol around the neighborhood areas, obviously they will find, let's take an example, if they find a cat that is uncollared, where if you know that if the pet is checked, there will be a collar with bell on the pets, but if they are not, there will be no collar, right? So the quickest thing to do at that time is the specialized task force will immediately notify the pet owners and give warning. If no further actions are taken, there will be further punishments for the pet owners. Okay, so that's the first one. The other thing that I can think of about how to get the pets fully checked is through the Caster Care app. As we all know, Caster Care app is a bunch of database, but other than that, there's also a function where we can snap pictures. So how can we benefit by this function is, but let's take an example. If you're in a neighborhood and you saw your neighbor's pet is not uncollared, it's uncollared. So the thing that you can do is snap the picture and send the location to the through the Caster Care app. So the Caster Care app will notify the specialized task force and immediately give out warnings to the pet owners. So this can increase the awareness and also speed up the process of ensuring all pets are checked up during this 6 months period of time. Okay, so that's it. Next question. If you want to open up borders, will people still want to travel, holidays, etc., if they have to quarantine 3 weeks before being able to travel around the country? Okay, so when we're talking about borders, as I've stated before, in our country, there will be certain areas that are red zone, which is more than 40 cases in that state. So if that if that state is a red zone area, we will close our border in that state only. So for example, the person in that state that is a red zone cannot go out, and also the other citizens from the state that are yellow or green cannot enter the red zone. So by doing so, we can prevent the spreading of this IMPF 31 throughout the country. Okay, so I guess they will likely be aware about the certain states that are red zone. So we will publicize them, the list of the states in the media or newspaper or even television on news. Okay, so that's it. So regarding the act of reducing tax of Dagon, won't that affect CASTER'S economic income given that currently they are facing an economic crisis? Okay, so when we're talking about economic, we're having serious major problems because due to the overpopulation. So we're lacking some resources in our country itself. So I think it's best for our country to move out of our comfort zone and do some engagement with other countries. Like for example, if they like the Chief Minister has stated, we will be doing treaty with other country in exchange to trade our fisheries, because as you all know, we have 50% of fisheries for our economic resources production. So we will exchange that with the things that we're lacking, such as metal minerals, oil, and also coal that are really high expensive in price. So with that, we can reduce the spending of our money. And when we reduce the tax of Dagon, we must keep in mind that Dagon is the backbone of our economy. So if we don't depend on Dagon, so if we don't boost the economy, or we let go Dagon out of our country, we will lose. Our economic structure will be fluctuated, and also everyone will may live in poverty as well. So I think it's best for us to keep Dagon in our country, just to keep safe for our economic sake. Okay. Are there any questions? So how do you utilize depleted uranium from CASTER'S nuclear plants? Okay, so when we're talking about the nuclear plants, we're actually going to, since we're one of the source of revenue in CASTER is nuclear plants, we're actually going to start shifting or start boosting towards our fisheries, and also exploit further mineral resources in our land. So we're not saying that we're giving up on nuclear sectors, but instead we're going to maybe trade or sell our nuclear resources, just to make sure our economy is more strengthened. And also, if we shifting or if we're exploring other resources such as, you know, oil digging and also mineral ores and so on, we can actually be more dependent rather than only depend on fish. So we're going to boost up our fisheries with the facilities as stated by the Chief Minister, and also exploiting other mineral and other resources. But at the same time, we're also going to do our best with trading and also with the nuclear power plants that we have in our country. Okay, another question. We can make it in time. Last question. By giving special treatment to the state of Dagon, there may be a chance of public outcry from the other states in CASTER. How will you manage the public outcry? Okay, so as stated before, this is a really crucial element when implementing these policies only for Dagon, because we're not letting Dagon go, because it is the economic backbone for our country. So if we lose Dagon, we will lose like almost half of our economic resources, and it will really go downhill from there. So the other things that we can keep, the other ways for us to keep Dagon is giving special treatment. The others need to understand the importance of Dagon itself to our economy and also as the country as a whole. So what we do is just go public on the first day and explain the importance of Dagon to our country. We will show the percentage or statistic that show how dependent are we towards the Dagon. So maybe there are some inequalities that are felt by other states because they're not given the special treatment. But what can we do? And also keep in mind that these policies, special treatment are not permanent. They are only a 5-year deal, and because they wanted to leave due to the crisis we're having with the IMPF 31, and it's such a burden for them because the state is one of the state that is in green zone. So we'll in this 5-year time, we will do our best to tackle this IMPF 31 problem first, and we will see further engagement from there, and just to let's increase the awareness of the citizens of CASTER on how important Dagon is. So that's why we're doing and explaining why we do so, and also we can also encourage them to move to Dagon because we have some special treatments in Dagon. So I think that's quite fair, assuming that they are also helping us. So it's a win-win situation for Dagon and also other states. So in that 5 years deal, we'll see for further agreements just to make sure everything is fair. Okay, so that's it. That was the last question. And thank you for the question. So, okay, that concludes the Q&A session for today. Thank you guys for entering this media conference. Okay, but before that, you see, CASTER is not about the place. It's about the people. If you think wisely, we as the citizens, we need to give full cooperation to the government just to curb this IMPF 31 problem that is still enduring around the states. So as we all know, CASTER is desperately in need of help. So me and also Sheikh Aiman hope that our proposal will be accepted just for CASTER's sake, for a better future of CASTER. We're not gods, we're just ministers, but we will do our best for CASTER's future. I think that's all from me, the Deputy of Chief Minister. And I guess that's it for our today's conference. I wish you all a good day and thank you.